Hi guys, it has been a while. I haven't made a video in like 6 months, but we have had a lot going on and I'll try to explain that in another video. But today I wanted to share something because I've been trying to do it for like the last now 2 holiday seasons and I haven't done it. And so I thought I need to do it. So we're making sausage bread, and this is a family tradition on my mom's side. And so my mom is right there. We're baking a lot. We have like 7 bowls of rising dough all over the kitchen, and we're gonna be making sausage bread and cookies and all that today for a family Christmas party this weekend. And she's gonna explain the recipe better than I can. So, okay, say hi, Mom.
Hi.
That's Gigi or Dana. So my dough is a sourdough, just like a sandwich white bread dough. It's from the Food Nanny. It's with kamut flour. I can link the cookbook in the details below that has the recipe for that. But basically I'm using half of that recipe. So it makes 3 larger loaves of regular white bread or 6 mini loaves, and I'm using half of that for the sausage bread roll. So I have a sourdough, and then that is not traditional to the family recipe, but I thought I would try it, and Thanksgiving it turned out well. My mom is doing something different. So my mom has, what kind of dough do you have? Explain
I have
it.
a white sandwich loaf bread dough.
Just a regular sandwich bread.
Yep.
Just not sourdough, white bread.
Correct.
And you have it from a really old cookbook.
I do have it from the original recipe that I use typically is from the Trinity Lutheran cookbook that was my grandmother's from Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. And unfortunately, I can't find that cookbook this year, so I did take it from a new cookbook, which it seems to be doing very well, from the Gathering Friends. And so Megan can link this as well.
Okay, and can you just explain the history of not sourdough. Can you explain the history of sausage bread and the family tradition and all that, your story with it, really quick?
Yeah, so as a child, so I'm now nearing 60. As a very young child, every year during the holidays, whether it was Thanksgiving or Christmas, my mother always had sausage bread on the table. It came from her mother as well. And so it's a very simple recipe, but it was always something that as children we looked forward to. I carried that tradition forward with another recipe at the holidays, and I typically only make sausage bread at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And it's especially important that I make it this year because my son is coming home. So it's his favorite.
And he loves it.
And he loves it. Yes.
All right, so she has the regular bread dough. I have the sourdough bread. We're going to roll it out. Can you explain? She said not a square or rectangle. She says a circle, but I've always done it in a rectangle. So it changes with the generations, just a smidge.
Yeah, I typically, once it's done rising, for the second time, you punch it down, and then you put the loaf on your countertop, on a floured countertop, and then you just begin to press it out. I do it in a round circle. That's how my mom did it. That's how I currently do it. And so I will continue to move this around in a circle and then use a rolling pin to roll it out.
So we're gonna roll them out and then we'll show you what's next. Yeah. Okay, we have our doughs rolled out. It looks like cinnamon roll dough. So next we are putting in the filling, and I'm gonna let Mom explain what the filling is and then what we do next.
Okay, so the filling it's a little bit like a calzone without the sauce. So we're going to use mozzarella cheese, shredded mozzarella cheese on the base of it, because this is going to allow the sausage to adhere to the cheese once it melts and hold it in place. So we're gonna take a generous amount, usually 2 to 3 cups is what I tend to do, and I just spread it all over the dough. So you can see it's pretty generous and covered.
And this recipe is kind of like fluid. If you like more cheese, use more cheese. If you like more sausage or less, like you can kind of do whatever you want. It's not exact, but we can put a recipe down. That's just a general recipe in the details.
And then I typically will take the cheese and pat it into the dough. Again, I think it just holds a little bit better within the dough. So once you have your first layer of mozzarella cheese on the bread, we're going to layer a sausage mixture. So this morning, I diced up a full green pepper, some fresh garlic, and minced some onions, and I sauteed those in the frying pan. And then I added in regular pork sausage. This could be any pork sausage that you like. So, you know, any kind of pork sausage. And so you're going to fry that up, mix the green peppers, the onions, and the garlic, and the sausage, obviously, until it's done. And then you're going to drain it. Probably the most important part of this recipe is to ensure that your bread does not bake wet. And so you are going to drain the sausage mixture. And then what I typically do is I will put it in a strainer, and then I use paper towels, and then I use a bacon press, a big cast iron bacon press. And then I just press until all the grease is out. And then I will take a spoon and I will toss the sausage mixture again, place more paper towels, press again, do it 3 or 4 times to make sure that the sausage mixture is as dry as possible without the grease. So once...
Wait, I was gonna say, how much is that? 8 ounces, a pound? How much?
Yeah, so this is actually 1.5 pounds of sausage. So you could do 1.5 pounds, you could do a pound or 2 pounds if you want a little bit more, but it's 1.5 pounds. And this morning, actually, what I made was 4 pounds of sausage because I'm splitting it between, so actually this is probably about 2 pounds. I'm splitting it between 2 loaves. And I did 1.5 bell peppers. I used 3 loaves of garlic, or 3 cloves of garlic, and then just 1/3 of an onion and diced it very finely. Okay. Cool. So now we're going to take the sausage mixture, and you can see it's pretty dry. It's not wet. You can see from my hands there's a little bit of oil, but it's not greasy at all. The whole idea is to get the sausage onto the bread without all the grease. You do not want the grease weighing down your bread when it bakes. So we're going to spread it all over the cheese mixture. And you can see again, it's pretty generous. And you can use less or more depending on what you would like to do.
And you don't go out to the edges. Is there a reason?
Well, we got to begin to roll it.
Okay, so don't go.
Yeah.
She says don't go to the edges.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're trying to do crust to crust is a must. Right. Because we're going to roll it.
Okay, and then the second layer of cheese, which is important because we have 1 layer of cheese that's going to help melt into the sausage. The top layer of mozzarella is also going to then melt as well, and it's just going to hold all that sausage in place once this bread loaf cools. So we're going to take mozzarella and we're going to spread it again all over the top. And again, the whole loaf is probably going to have 3 to 4 cups of mozzarella, or a little bit more if that's what you like. Okay, so now we've got a base layer of mozzarella. We have a sausage layer with the green peppers and the onions and garlic, and then another layer of mozzarella, and we're ready to roll the dough.
All right, on to the last step. You want to explain what you're doing?
Sure. Yeah, so we're going to take the ends of the dough and we're going to begin to just roll up over the sausage. And then I do a couple rolls typically, and you're going to see this end is empty. There's nothing at the edge of the dough. And so I'm just going to start rolling it 2 or 3 rolls, and then I'm going to roll the end in and pinch it. Try to keep everything together.
So she's rolling inside. She's not like tucking under.
Correct. I'm pinching it, bringing the bread dough in, and then I'm pinching.
Can you show on this side?
Bring the bread dough in, and then pinch.
Okay. Tuck and roll.
Tuck and roll, correct.
All right. So the sausage bread roll is rolled all the way like a big burrito. And now what?
Okay, so the tricky part is to get it loaded onto my heavy duty aluminum foil. So I take 2 pieces of aluminum foil. You'll see I already have it completed here. And I tear it off. It's usually about 2 feet long, 2.5 feet long. And I actually take 2 pieces and I will make a seam just to get 1 large piece. Okay, so I lay it down, I spray it with Pam or something that's nonstick cooking spray.
You can use the dough scraper if you want, if that's easier.
And then this dough is a little bit tacky, so I am going to use Megan's dough divider here. And I'm just going to come in under it to try to loosen it from the countertop because
it's heavy.
It is heavy. And so I typically will work my hand and arm up underneath the dough like a baby or a football because you want it all to stay together.
Ooh.
And then you lift it and you place it in the center
nice
of the aluminum foil. And if you need to reshape it, you can. So now we are ready to close the aluminum foil. So we will take it, we're going to close it all the way.
But you're tinting, you're not like
tinting it. Correct.
You're not like wrapping it tight.
I'm just going to tint it, leave some room so it can expand when it raises a little bit more, and then when we pop it in the oven. Okay, so it is ready. We're going to let it rise for about another 30 minutes to an hour, and then we're going to pop it in the oven at 375 for about 40 minutes. At that point, I will pull it out. I'll open up the aluminum foil and we'll butter it and let it bake until it's golden brown on top.
Okay. So we're gonna let it rise and then we're gonna put them in the oven and then we'll show you what it looks like whenever we take it out and it's nice and hot and you gotta let it cool, but we'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so we pulled the first one out. It's not quite ready. It is not like golden brown on top. It doesn't need to be super golden brown, but just a little bit brown. And so what we're doing is we're opening up the tent on the tin foil. Gonna put it back in for how many minutes?
For about 10 to 15 minutes.
10 to 15 minutes.
Yep. What we're doing?
Yeah, they're out of the oven. What are we doing now?
Okay, so we have just taken both loaves of sausage bread out of the oven. You can see we had opened them. They're nice and golden brown. Sometimes you'll see them split a little bit, which is fine, not a big deal. We're going to take some butter and we're going to put some butter on top. So I'm going to grab some butter. So we're going to take some butter and we're just going to brush it gently across the top, just so that it's nice and buttery. And then we're just going to let it sit until the aluminum foil kind of cools off.
It's better when it sets up a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely needs to set up because the cheese will be so melty that you won't be able to cut it. So it's much better, this bread is much better to let it cool so that you have the ability to slice it and get nice slices.
It's like probably like an hour or two,
yeah.
Right?
I would say a good couple hours. And then slicing it, and then of course it's perfect for a breakfast or a snack.
Several hours later from when we started cooking. So everything is cooked and done and Mom is cutting it right now. We kind of cut them earlier, but they were a little underdone, so she kind of put them back in. But it should look like that, all set up, the cheese and the sausage, and it's not melting out of it or anything. And yeah, that's the sausage bread. Here's everyone. Thank you guys for watching. I will write the recipe down in the description. And if you try this recipe with your family, let me know how it goes and what you think of it. All right, Merry Christmas, guys.